The winter wind whips through my hair as I kneel in the frozen earth, my fingers trembling with excitement. My truffle dog Max freezes, his nose twitching. "Show me, boy," I whisper, and he starts digging. The morning had blessed me with 3 perfect winter truffles, black diamonds worth their weight in gold. I carefully wrap them in cloth, already imagining the hefty price they'll fetch. Living alone in Augusta has its perks, especially when you know where to look for nature's treasures. Later at the farmer's market, my basket already full of fresh produce, I spot the last perfectly ripe avocado. As my hand reaches for it, warm fingers brush against mine. I look up into striking green eyes. "Oh, sorry." She pulls back, a slight blush coloring her cheeks. Her brunette hair falls in loose waves around her face, and something about her confident stance catches my attention. "No worries," I say, gesturing to the avocado. "You take it." "I'm Jamie Thomas, executive chef at Lesbian," she says, extending her hand. "That's quite a collection of truffles you've got there." My eyes widen. Lesbian is Augusta's most prestigious restaurant. "Amanda Campbell," I reply. "I hunt them myself." "A truffle hunter?" Jamie's eyes light up. "I've been looking for a local supplier. The ones from Europe are breaking my budget." We end up sharing coffee at a corner cafe. The contested avocado split between us. Jamie's passion for cooking mirrors my own love for foraging. Her hands move expressively as she describes her restaurant's signature dishes. "I'd love to try your truffles in my kitchen," she says, leaning closer. The morning sun catches her hair, creating a halo effect that makes my breath catch. "I could bring some by tonight," I offer, surprising myself with my eagerness. After closing time, I find myself in Lesbian's gleaming kitchen. Jamie creates a simple pasta dish that makes my truffles sing. As she feeds me a bite, her fingers linger near my lips. "Perfect," I murmur, not just talking about the food. She moves closer, her breath warm against my cheek. "There's something about you, Amanda Campbell." The kitchen's warmth envelops us as she leans in. Her lips meet mine, soft and tentative at first. Then with growing certainty, the taste of truffles and possibility lingers between us. Later, walking home under Augusta's star-filled sky, I can't stop smiling. Who would have thought the last avocado at the farmer's market would lead to this? Max trots beside me, his tail wagging as if he approves of this unexpected turn of events. I touch my lips, still feeling the ghost of our kiss. Tomorrow I'll go hunting again, but this time with a specific kitchen in mind. Something tells me this is just the beginning of a story I never expected to find in Augusta's quiet streets. My phone buzzes with a text from Jamie. "Same time tomorrow? I have more recipes that need your expert touch." I reply immediately, "Wouldn't miss it for anything." Over the next few weeks, my truffles find an exclusive home at Lesbian. Every delivery becomes a private ritual, Jamie insisting I stay while she experiments with new recipes. The kitchen after hours becomes our sanctuary. Tonight, the restaurant is empty except for us. Steam rises from a pot of simmering stock as Jamie works her magic. "Try this," she says, offering a spoon of truffle-infused risotto. Her fingers brush my wrist, sending shivers down my spine. "It's incredible," I murmur, watching her move through her domain. The confidence in her steps, the precise way she handles each ingredient. It's like watching a dancer perform. "I've never met anyone who understands ingredients like you do," Jamie says, wiping her hands on her apron. "Most suppliers just see dollar signs. You see the soul in these things." The kitchen's warmth wraps around us like a cocoon. Outside, Augusta sleeps under a blanket of stars, but in here, time seems to stand still. "I learned from my grandmother," I tell her, perching on a prep counter. "She taught me to read the forest, to understand its rhythms. Every truffle tells a story if you know how to listen." Jamie steps closer, standing between my knees. "Tell me more about her," she whispers, her hands resting lightly on my thighs. Words become difficult as she leans in. Our lips meet, and this time there's nothing tentative about it. Her mouth tastes of the white wine she used in the risotto. My fingers tangle in her hair as she pulls me closer. We make love right there in the kitchen, the moonlight streaming through the high windows our only witness. Steam fogs the windows as our bodies find their own rhythm, more intoxicating than any dish we could create. Later, wrapped in the tablecloth we pulled from a nearby cart, Jamie traces patterns on my skin. "I've never done anything like this before," she admits, laughing softly. What, desecrated your professional kitchen? I tease, kissing her shoulder. No, felt this way about someone so quickly. Her voice turns serious. It scares me a little. I understand completely. This thing between us feels both fragile and inevitable, like spring's first truffle pushing through frozen ground. Tell me about Paris, I say, remembering something she'd mentioned earlier. You trained there, right? A shadow crosses her face. That's a story for another time, she says, standing to adjust her clothes. Right now, I want to show you something. She leads me to her office, pulling out a worn leather-bound cookbook. My grandmother's recipes, she explains. Nobody else has seen these, but I want to share them with you. As we flip through the yellowed pages, I realize she's offering more than just recipes. She's sharing her history, her heart. Each handwritten note tells a story of family, of passion passed down through generations. The sun is rising by the time we finish talking. Jamie insists on driving me home, though it's only a few blocks. At my door, she kisses me again, slow and deep. Come back tonight? She asks, her voice husky. I want to try that black truffle soufflé recipe we found. I nod, already counting the hours. As I watch her drive away, I realize I'm in dangerous territory. This isn't just about truffles anymore. This is about something much more rare and precious. Inside, Max greets me with knowing eyes. Don't look at me like that, I tell him, but I can't stop smiling. My lips still tingle from her kisses, and my skin bears the memory of her touch. I should be worried about how fast this is moving. Instead, I find myself planning tomorrow's truffle hunt with unprecedented enthusiasm. After all, I have a chef to impress, and a soufflé to perfect. You have to be quiet, I whisper to Jamie as we creep through the pre-dawn forest. Max leads the way, his nose already working overtime. Truffles are shy creatures. She stifles a laugh, her breath visible in the cold morning air. We'd left Augusta while the stars still hung in the sky, driving to my secret hunting grounds. Jamie looks different here, away from her polished kitchen, wilder, more free. It's like a treasure hunt, she whispers back, carefully stepping where I step. Her green eyes sparkle with childlike excitement. How do you know where to look? Watch Max, I say, pointing to where he's circling an old oak tree. The best truffles grow in limestone soil, near certain trees, but the real secret is patience. The sunrise paints the forest in gold as Max signals his first find. Jamie watches, fascinated, as I carefully dig around the truffle, showing her how to extract it without damage. It's beautiful, she breathes, cradling the black truffle in her palm. I've never seen one this fresh. Her wonder makes my heart skip. I've shown these grounds to no one else, yet having her here feels natural, right? Like she belongs in this part of my world too. As the morning warms, we find 3 more truffles. Jamie proves to be a quick study, her chef's hands gentle with each discovery. When she unearths her first truffle alone, her triumphant smile lights up the forest. I brought breakfast, she says later, as we rest against a fallen log. She pulls out a thermos of coffee and fresh croissants, though nothing as exotic as what we just found. The morning sun filters through the canopy, catching the gold highlights in her hair. When she leans over to pour coffee, I catch her scent vanilla, and something uniquely her. This is perfect, I say, but I'm not talking about the breakfast. She meets my eyes, understanding. Our kiss tastes of coffee and morning air. Her lips are warm despite the chill, and when she pulls me closer, the forest seems to hold its breath. Later, we walk hand in hand back to the car, our basket heavy with truffles. I want to show you something else, I say, taking a different path. I lead her to a small clearing where early spring wildflowers push through the last patches of snow. It's my special place, where I come to think, to be alone. Except, I'm not alone anymore. Amanda, Jamie says softly, squeezing my hand. Thank you for sharing this with me. That evening, we debut our forest finds at Le Jardin. Jamie creates a tasting menu that brings tears to the eyes of her regular customers. I watch from the kitchen doorway as she works, her movements confident and precise. Stay after closing, she says between courses, brushing past me with a loaded plate. I want to try something special. The last customers leave well past midnight. Jamie locks the front door and returns to the kitchen, where I'm perched on my usual spot on the prep counter. Tonight was amazing, I tell her as she approaches. You made those truffles dance. I had inspiration, she says, stepping between my knees. Her hands find my waist, pulling me closer. We kiss slowly, savoring each other like the rare ingredients we'd found that morning. There's no rush, no urgency, just the quiet hum of the kitchen and our synchronized breath. Come to dinner tomorrow, Jamie says against my lips. Not here, at my place. I want to cook just for you. Are you sure? I ask, knowing this is different from our kitchen encounters and forest adventures. This is crossing a line into something more real. More sure than I've been about anything, she answers, kissing me again. Walking home that night, I realize we're past the point of casual. Each step takes me further from her, but I can still feel her touch, still taste her kisses. Max bumps against my leg, carrying one small truffle we'd missed in the basket. I laugh, scratching his ears. You're right, boy. We should save this one for tomorrow night. My phone lights up with a text from Jamie. Missing you already. Tomorrow can't come soon enough. I reply with a photo of Max and the truffle, adding, saving the best for last. Her response comes quickly. The truffle or you? I smile into the night sky. Guess you'll have to wait and see. The morning starts with an unexpected text that makes my coffee turn bitter in my mouth. In town for the weekend. We should talk. Sarah, my ex-partner from 3 years ago. I'm still staring at the message when Jamie calls. Bad news, she says, her voice tense. Michelin inspector's coming next week. That's good news, isn't it? I ask, trying to push Sarah's message from my mind. Not when my sous chef just quit. Damn timing couldn't be worse. Jamie's voice cracks slightly. I need to find a replacement fast. I arrive at Le Jardin earlier than usual, finding Jamie surrounded by stacks of applications. Her usually perfect hair is disheveled, dark circles under her eyes. When's the last time you slept? I ask, setting down my basket of fresh truffles. Sleep is for people who don't have inspectors coming. She attempts a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. I start sorting through the papers, creating organized piles. Tell me what you need. A knock interrupts us. Sarah stands in the doorway, looking exactly as she did 3 years ago. Amanda, she says. You're harder to track down than I expected. Jamie looks between us, her expression unreadable. Friend of yours? Ex, I say quietly. Sarah, this isn't a good time. It never is with you, Sarah says, stepping into the office. But we need to discuss the property in Vermont. I'd almost forgotten about the cabin we'd bought together, the one I'd walked away from when I left. I signed everything over to you. That's the problem. Sarah pulls out some papers. The developers want both signatures. Jamie stands abruptly. I need to check on prep. She leaves before I can stop her. Nice place, Sarah comments, looking around. Nice chef, too. Don't, I warn. Just tell me what you need signed. Hours later, after Sarah leaves with her signed papers, I find Jamie in the kitchen, aggressively chopping vegetables. I should have told you about her, I say. You don't owe me explanations. The knife comes down harder. Jamie, look at me. I wait until she does. Sarah is my past, a past I walked away from. And what am I? Her voice is barely a whisper. Before I can answer, her phone rings. The Michelin inspector wants to move up the visit. Tomorrow? Damn it! Jamie throws the towel she's holding. I can't do this without a sous chef. Yes, you can, I say firmly. And you're not alone. We spend the night preparing. I call in favors from other truffle hunters, ensuring a steady supply of the finest ingredients. Jamie drills her team until every move is perfect. Dawn finds us still in the kitchen. Jamie looks at the prep list one last time. Stay? She asks quietly. As long as you need. The inspector arrives precisely at noon. Jamie's hands shake slightly as she plates the first course, but her creations are flawless. Each dish tells a story of passion, of connection to the ingredients. Hours pass like years. Finally, the inspector leaves. Jamie collapses into a chair. Whatever happens, I tell her, kneeling beside her, you were amazing today. I couldn't have done it without you. She cups my face in her hands. When Sarah showed up, I thought, that I'd go back? I shake my head. There's nothing back there for me. And here? Her voice trembles slightly. Here is where I found everything I never knew I was looking for. She kisses me then, tasting of relief and possibility. When we break apart, she rests her forehead against mine. "Stay tonight?" she asks. "As long as you need," I repeat, and this time we both know I mean forever. My phone buzzes. Sarah's flight confirmation back to Vermont. I delete it without reading. Some chapters need to stay closed for new ones to begin. Jamie's team erupts in cheers as the evening's service ends, a perfect day despite everything. Looking at Jamie directing cleanup, I realize sometimes the greatest treasures aren't found in the forest at all. I nearly drop my phone when Jamie sends me the link. There, on Augusta's most prestigious auction house website, is my face rendered in oils and shadows, captured in a moment of quiet contemplation in the forest with Max. "Did you know about this?" Jamie's text reads, "The listing prices the painting at $50,000. "No idea," I reply, my hands shaking. The artist's name is unlisted, marked only as Anonymous Contemporary Master. At Le Jardin that evening, Jamie pulls up the auction details on her laptop. "It's scheduled for next week," she says. The description claims it's part of a series called Modern Hunters. I study the image closer. It's from last winter. I recognize the scarf, the way the morning light filtered through the trees. But I never saw anyone painting me. "There's something else," Jamie says hesitantly. "Local press wants to interview you, the mysterious truffle hunter captured by the anonymous artist. They're calling tomorrow." "I don't want publicity," I protest. "My work depends on discretion, on secrets." "We might not have a choice." Jamie closes the laptop. The painting's already drawing attention. Art critics are flying in for the auction. That night, I can't sleep. I scroll through photos of the painting, trying to remember that day. Who could have been watching? Who could have seen me in that private moment? The media arrives before dawn. They follow me into the forest, cameras clicking, questions flying. "How does it feel to be Augusta's newest muse? Did you pose for the artist? Are there more paintings?" Max refuses to work with the cameras around. For the first time in years, we return empty-handed. "This has to stop," Jamie says when I arrive at Le Jardin. She pulls me into her office, away from curious eyes. "You look exhausted." I am. I sink into her chair. Every collector in the country suddenly wants to meet Augusta's truffle hunter. My phone won't stop ringing. Jamie kneels before me, taking my hands. "Then let's give them what they want." "What do you mean?" "Attend the auction," she says. "Make an appearance, satisfy their curiosity, then maybe they'll leave you alone." "I can't afford to bid on my own portrait." I laugh weakly. "No," Jamie says slowly. "But I can." The auction house is packed. Jamie holds my hand as we make our way through the crowd. Whispers follow us. About the painting, about us. When my portrait appears on the block, the bidding is fierce. Jamie squeezes my hand as the price climbs. At $75,000, she raises her paddle. A man in the back counters immediately. Not a collector. Something about him seems familiar. $90,000, Jamie calls, her voice firm. The man hesitates, then leaves abruptly. The portrait is ours. Later, as we hang it in Jamie's living room, she wraps her arms around me from behind. "Now I have two versions of you to admire." "You didn't have to do this," I whisper. "I wanted to." She kisses my neck. "Besides, it's an investment. The artist might be famous one day." That night, lying in bed, Jamie traces the lines of my face. "You look different when you're hunting," she says softly. "Peaceful, wild." That's what the artist captured. I feel exposed, I admit. All my secret places revealed. "Only the forest ones," she says, pulling me closer. "I still have some of your secrets all to myself." My phone buzzes. Another reporter requesting an interview. I silence it, turning into Jamie's embrace. "They'll lose interest eventually," she murmurs. "And if they don't? Then we'll face it together." She kisses me softly. Just like everything else. I fall asleep watching moonlight play across my painted face, wondering if the artist is out there somewhere, watching someone else's private moments, preparing to expose more secrets to the world. The mystery of the painting still haunts me, but Jamie's steady breathing beside me anchors me to what's real, what matters. Let them speculate about the truffle hunter in the portrait. The real me belongs here, in this moment, in these arms. The morning paper carries a story about Le Jardin, featuring Jamie's innovative truffle dishes. But it's the sidebar that catches my eye, a small piece about her years in Paris, mentioning a prestigious cooking award and a mysterious departure from a 3-star restaurant. You never told me about the Dubois Award, I say when I arrive at the restaurant. Jamie freezes, knife hovering over a shallot. That was a different life. The article says you were the youngest chef to win it. I approach carefully. Then you left Paris a month later. Some stories are better left in the past. She resumes chopping, her movements sharp and precise. Before I can press further, my phone rings. The auction house curator wants to meet urgently. We've discovered something about your portrait, she says. At the auction house, the curator leads me to a back room. Look at this, she says, pulling out another painting. It shows Jamie in her Paris kitchen, years younger but unmistakable. Where did you get this? My voice shakes. It was submitted anonymously, like yours. She peers at me. You didn't know? Back at Le Jardin, I find Jamie in her office. Why didn't you tell me about the painting? She sits heavily. Because it reminds me of him, Claude, my mentor in Paris. The story spills out. Claude had been more than a mentor. He'd taught her everything, supported her through the Dubois competition. Then he'd become possessive, controlling. He didn't like that I was becoming successful on my own, she says quietly. That I was making my own choices. The paintings? He was always painting in the kitchen. I never thought. She looks up at me. When I saw your portrait, I knew. His style hasn't changed. I sink into the chair beside her. He's been watching us. I'm so sorry, she whispers. I never meant to drag you into this. I take her hand. You didn't drag me anywhere. I walked here willingly. That night, we make love with a desperate tenderness, as if trying to reclaim something that feels threatened. Jamie traces my features in the darkness, memorizing me by touch. I ran from Paris, she confesses afterward. Left everything behind, started over here in Augusta. You built something beautiful, I tell her, kissing her shoulder. Something that's truly yours. Ours, she corrects softly. These past months with you. A noise downstairs interrupts us. We find Claude in the kitchen, studying the space like he owns it. Your technique has improved, he says to Jamie in accented English. But you're still hiding. Get out, she says, her voice steady. I made you. He steps forward. Everything you know. You taught me to cook, Jamie cuts him off. But I taught myself to live. I move to stand beside her. Claude's eyes narrow. Ah, the truffle hunter, he says. My latest muse. You two make quite the pair. Leave, I say firmly. Your paintings are beautiful, but they're not welcome here. He studies us for a long moment. Perhaps I was wrong, he says finally. Perhaps you have learned something new after all. After he's gone, Jamie collapses against me. I thought he'd destroy everything. He can't, I hold her close. What we have isn't his to take. Later, we sit in her kitchen, sharing a bottle of wine. No more secrets, Jamie says. No more secrets, I agree. Though I do have one more thing to tell you. She tenses slightly. I love you, I say simply. Her smile could light up all of Augusta. I love you too. We spend the rest of the night planning a new menu, a new life, a future that's entirely our own. And if somewhere in Paris Claude is still painting, let him. We're done being anyone's subjects but our own. The morning after Claude's visit, Le Jardin receives its Michelin rating 1 star, with special mention of the innovative truffle dishes. The Augusta Daily Herald runs a front-page story, complete with photos of Jamie and me in the kitchen. Your mushroom whisperer's quite photogenic, says a regular customer, sliding the paper across the counter. The headline reads, Local chef and truffle hunter create culinary magic. Jamie's been fielding calls all morning, food critics, television producers, even a book agent. They want us to do a cooking show, she tells me between meetings. Can you believe it? I can't. My quiet life in the forest seems like a distant memory. Now everyone wants to know about truffle hunting, about our relationship, about the mysterious portraits. We don't have to do any of it, Jamie says, noticing my expression. We can stay exactly as we are. But we both know that's not possible anymore. The portrait scandal has made us local celebrities. Every time I go hunting, photographers try to follow. Max has started growling at the sound of camera shutters. Maybe we should give them what they want, Jamie suggests over dinner. Control the narrative ourselves. We agree to one magazine interview, thinking it will satisfy the media's curiosity. Instead, it opens the floodgates. The story of the truffle hunter and the chef captures people's imagination. The restaurant is booked months in advance. Tourists stake out my usual hunting grounds, hoping to catch a glimpse of us. Someone starts a food blog dedicated to analyzing our relationship through Jamie's menu changes. They're calling us Augusta's power couple, Jamie reads from her phone, laughing. If they only knew we spend most nights in our pajamas, testing recipes. But the attention brings complications. A competitor tries to poach my truffle supply, offering twice my usual rates. Someone leaves negative reviews on Le Jardin's page, claiming Jamie's success is just publicity. Don't read the comments, I tell her, taking away her phone. They don't know us. The portrait situation gets worse when art magazines start speculating about Claude's identity. One critic suggests the paintings are a commentary on female relationships in male-dominated industries. Another claims they're a critique of traditional French cuisine. They're missing the point entirely, Jamie says, staring at my portrait. He wasn't making a statement. He was marking his territory. The pressure starts affecting us. Jamie works longer hours, obsessing over every detail. I find myself taking Max to more remote hunting grounds, seeking the solitude we've lost. One night, after a particularly brutal review questions the authenticity of our relationship, Jamie breaks down. Maybe we should step back, she suggests. Take a break from the spotlight. Run away, you mean? I ask, remembering her story about Paris. No, she says firmly, not running, just breathing. We spend that weekend at my cabin, phones turned off. Jamie teaches me her grandmother's secret recipes. I show her how to read the forest's subtle signs. This is who we are, she says, watching me clean a fresh truffle, not what they write about us. Then let's show them that, I reply. We decide to do the cooking show, but on our terms. No manufactured drama, no staged moments, just us, sharing our passions, our knowledge, our life. The producers aren't thrilled, but our reputation carries weight now. Fine, they agree, but we want the first episode to address the portraits. No, Jamie says firmly. That story's been told enough. Later that night, cuddled on her couch, we watch the sunset over Augusta. Are you happy? I ask. Happier than I've ever been, she answers. Even with all this chaos. Worth trading your quiet kitchen for? She kisses me softly. Worth trading anything for? My phone buzzes with another interview request. I silence it without looking. They'll get tired of us eventually, Jamie murmurs. And if they don't? Then we'll keep living our story, she says. Let them write whatever they want. The email from my mother arrives on a quiet Sunday morning. Saw you in the magazine. We need to talk. I stare at the screen, my coffee growing cold. In all the media chaos, I'd somehow forgotten about my family in Augusta. They live just across town, but we've barely spoken in years. Jamie finds me still staring at the email. Everything okay? My mother, I say quietly. She wants to meet. Jamie knows the basics, how I distanced myself from my family years ago, tired of their expectations, their judgment. Now the magazines had brought me back into their orbit. You don't have to go, Jamie says. But we both know I will. The family home looks exactly the same. Neat garden, white trim, perfect shutters. My mother opens the door before I can knock. Amanda, she says stiffly. Come in. The living room is a shrine to the past. Family photos cover the walls, but they stopped 3 years ago. I recognize the timeline, when I left their carefully planned path to forge my own. So, my mother begins. A chef? Jamie's more than just a chef, I say. I know what she is, my mother interrupts. The whole town knows. We sit in uncomfortable silence. She pours tea into my grandmother's china cups. Your father's sister called, she continues. She saw the article too. Everyone's talking. Is that why you wanted to see me? Because people are talking? She sets down her cup. I wanted to see you because you're my daughter. Even if you've chosen this lifestyle. The word hangs between us like poison. I stand, ready to leave. Amanda, wait. Her voice cracks. I'm trying. I turn back. Trying what? To understand, too. She gestures helplessly. You look happy, in the photos. Happier than I've seen you in years. I am happy, I say softly. Jamie makes me happy. She nods slowly. Invite her to dinner. What? If she's important to you, we should meet her, properly. Meanwhile, Jamie faces her own crossroads. A prestigious restaurant group offers her a position as executive chef at their flagship in New York. It's an incredible opportunity, she tells me that night. But my life is here now, with you, with Le Jardin. She takes my hand. I'm not leaving. You're sure? More sure than I've ever been. The family dinner happens on a Thursday. Jamie brings her grandmother's famous truffle soufflé. My mother sets the table with the good china. The conversation starts awkwardly, but Jamie's charm works its magic. By dessert, she has my mother laughing at stories from Le Jardin. You really found those truffles yourself? My father asks, finally joining the conversation. Amanda taught me, Jamie says, squeezing my hand under the table. She's an amazing teacher. Later, helping with dishes, my mother says quietly, she's good for you. She is, I agree. I'm sorry, she adds, for not seeing it sooner. Walking home, Jamie asks, you okay? I pull her close, kissing her under the streetlight. Better than okay. At home, we find an email from the restaurant group. They've revised their offer. They want both of us, promising to open a new restaurant built around our partnership. What do you think? Jamie asks. I look around our kitchen, think of my newly healing family relationships, our life here in Augusta. I think, I say, kissing her again, that we're exactly where we're supposed to be. She smiles against my lips. Good answer. My phone buzzes. A text from my mother. Dinner next week? Jamie reads it over my shoulder. Progress, she says softly. Progress, I agree, sending back a simple yes. Sometimes the hardest truths to unearth aren't hidden in the forest at all. They're right here, waiting to be discovered, like truffles beneath the surface of our lives. The morning starts with chaos at Le Jardin. A pipe burst in the kitchen, flooding the prep area. But that's not the worst of it. Someone's been accessing our computer system, Jamie says, showing me her laptop. They have all our recipes, supplier contacts, everything. Before I can respond, my phone rings. It's the auction house curator again. There's something you need to see. At the auction house, she shows us a series of photographs. They're surveillance shots. Jamie and me at the farmer's market. In the forest, at Le Jardin. Mixed in are older photos of Jamie in Paris. These were delivered anonymously, the curator explains, with instructions to display them next month. Claude, Jamie whispers. Her face has gone pale. Back at Le Jardin, we discover more damage. Someone has tampered with the reservation system, canceling a month's worth of bookings. The restaurant's social media accounts are flooded with negative reviews. He's trying to destroy everything, Jamie says, slumping into her office chair. Just like in Paris. No, I say firmly. Not this time. We spend the day doing damage control. Jamie's team rallies around us, calling regular customers to restore reservations. Local food bloggers help counter the fake reviews. Then the final blow comes. A food critic's scathing article appears online, claiming Jamie's signature dishes are stolen from her time in Paris. The proof? Detailed recipes and photographs, clearly taken from our compromised system. I can't do this again, Jamie says that night, her voice breaking. I can't watch everything I've built crumble. Then we fight, I tell her. Together. We start gathering evidence, the system breaches, the surveillance photos, everything pointing to Claude's obsession. The local police take interest when we show them the pattern of harassment. But Claude is clever. He's careful to stay just within legal bounds, never quite crossing the line into prosecutable territory. There's another way, I say suddenly, remembering something. The Dubois Award? Jamie looks up sharply. What about it? You said Claude was your mentor when you won. Was he also a judge? Her eyes widen. He wasn't supposed to be, but he pulled strings. We spend the night digging through old competition records, finding proof of Claude's manipulation. By morning, we have enough to threaten his reputation in the culinary world he values so much. Send it to him, Jamie says. All of it. The response comes within hours. A simple email, "You win, again." But we're not celebrating yet. The damage to Le Jardin's reputation needs repair. The stolen recipes are already circulating online. Then we create new ones, I say. Better ones. Jamie looks at me for a long moment, then starts pulling out ingredients. We work through the night, reinventing every compromised dish. Each recipe tells our story. The forest meets the kitchen, tradition meets innovation. This isn't just about survival anymore, Jamie says as we plate our final creation. This is about who we are. The next morning, we invite every food critic in Augusta to a special tasting. We serve our new menu, explaining each dish's evolution, its connection to our journey together. The reviews start appearing that evening. Le Jardin Reborn, reads one headline. A love letter to modern cuisine, says another. Later, exhausted but triumphant, we sit in the empty restaurant. The flood damage is repaired, the systems secured, our reputation restored. We did it, Jamie says softly. Did you ever doubt we would? She smiles, touching my face. Not for a second. My phone buzzes. Another message from Claude. This time, it's a photo of a half-finished painting. He's set it on fire. Good riddance, Jamie says, and kisses me. Tomorrow, we'll deal with the remaining fallout. But tonight, in our kitchen sanctuary, we've reclaimed something precious. Our story, told in our own words, on our own terms. The mystery of my portrait finally unravels on a crisp autumn morning. A letter arrives from the auction house with an unexpected revelation. The original buyer wants to return the painting, the curator explains when we arrive. He left this for you. Inside the envelope is a photograph, my grandmother in her youth, standing in the same forest where I now hunt truffles. She's holding a woven basket, a dog at her feet. Turn it over, Jamie says softly. On the back in faded ink, Augusta's first truffle hunter, 1965. The man who tried to buy your portrait, the curator continues, was your grandmother's old friend. He recognized the location. Memories flood back, my grandmother teaching me to read the forest, to understand its secrets. She never told me she was the first. At Le Jardin that evening, we celebrate more than just the revelation. The Michelin guide has upgraded us to 2 stars, praising our innovative connection between forest and kitchen. To your grandmother, Jamie toasts, raising her glass. The original truffle hunter. The restaurant is packed, but there's a different energy tonight. No more whispers about scandals or secrets. Just appreciation for the food, the atmosphere, the story we've created together. Between courses, Jamie pulls me into the kitchen. I have something to tell you. She leads me to her office, where a letter sits on her desk. The James Beard Foundation, she says. They want to honor Le Jardin. Not just for the food, but for our commitment to local sourcing, to tradition. Jamie, that's amazing. There's more. She takes my hand. They want us to speak at the ceremony, both of us, about our partnership, our vision. The implications sink in. This isn't just recognition, it's validation. Of our work, our relationship, our choice to stay true to ourselves despite everything. Should we tell them? I ask. Tell them what? About us, about everything. No more hiding. Jamie's smile lights up the room. I thought you'd never ask. The ceremony is a blur of lights and applause. We stand together at the podium, hands clasped. Food is about connection, Jamie begins. Between ingredients, between traditions, between people, I add, squeezing her hand. We tell our story, the avocado at the farmer's market, the truffles that brought us together, the challenges we've overcome. The audience hangs on every word. Love, like cooking, is about trust, Jamie says. About believing in something bigger than yourself. After the ceremony, surrounded by well-wishers, Jamie pulls me aside. There's one more surprise. She leads me outside, where a car waits. We drive through Augusta's quiet streets to the forest where it all began. Under the stars, beside the oak tree where we found our first truffle together, Jamie drops to one knee. Amanda Campbell, she says, voice trembling. Will you marry me? The ring she holds isn't diamond. It's a simple band etched with tiny mushrooms. Yes, I whisper, pulling her up into a kiss. Later, celebrating at Le Jardin, we add a new dish to the menu, the proposal, a truffle-infused creation that tells our story in every bite. My grandmother's photograph hangs in the restaurant now, beside my portrait. 2 generations of truffle hunters, connected by love of the forest and the secrets it holds. To new beginnings, Jamie says, raising her glass. To us, I reply, knowing this is just the start of our next chapter. The restaurant buzzes with life around us, but in this moment, it's just us. The truffle hunter and her chef, finally, completely ourselves. The summer sun bathes Augusta in golden light as we stand in our new kitchen. Not Les Jardins, not my apartments, but our own space, Truffle and Thyme, a restaurant that's truly ours. Ready? Jamie asks, handing me the scissors for the ribbon-cutting ceremony. The crowd gathered outside includes familiar faces, my parents, Jamie's team from Les Jardins, regular customers who've become friends. Even the auction house curator is here, beaming proudly. Together, I say, and we cut the ribbon. Our vision has come to life. A space that combines restaurant and teaching kitchen, where we share not just meals but knowledge. The walls feature local artists' work, including my portrait, now a symbol of our journey. Welcome to Truffle and Thyme, Jamie announces to the applauding crowd, where forest meets kitchen. The restaurant fills quickly. Jamie moves through the open kitchen like a dancer, creating dishes that tell our story. I divide my time between hunting and teaching, sharing the secrets of the forest with a new generation. Look what Max found, calls one of my students, holding up a perfect black truffle. The elderly dog, now semi-retired but still keen-nosed, wags his tail proudly. In the private dining room, we've gathered our closest friends for a special announcement. Jamie squeezes my hand under the table as I stand. We're starting a foundation, I begin. The Augusta Truffle Hunters Fellowship. The room falls silent as we explain. A program to support young chefs and foragers, preserving traditional knowledge while encouraging innovation. It's our way of paying forward all the luck and love we've found. The first fellowship, Jamie adds, will be named after Amanda's grandmother. My mother dabs at her eyes with a napkin. My father, who now proudly tells everyone about his daughter the truffle hunter, raises his glass in a toast. Later that night, after the last guest leaves, we slow dance in our empty restaurant. The kitchen still hums with warmth from the evening's service. Happy? Jamie asks, twirling me under the soft lights. More than I ever imagined possible. She pulls me closer. Remember that first avocado? How could I forget? Best produce fight I ever lost. We laugh, thinking of all the moments that led us here. The early morning hunts, the late-night cooking sessions, the challenges we overcame together. I have one more surprise, Jamie says, leading me to the kitchen. On the counter sits a fresh avocado, perfectly ripe, with a note, "To new adventures." I thought we could split it, she says, eyes twinkling. Start our first official day the way we started our story. I pull her in for a kiss that tastes of truffles and possibility. Outside, Augusta sleeps, but in here, we're wide awake, ready for whatever tomorrow brings. Max pads in, gray-muzzled but still eager, carrying his truffle hunting harness. Some habits never change. What do you say? Jamie asks. One more hunt before dawn? Always, I reply, taking her hand. Together, we step into the pre-dawn darkness, not as chef and hunter, but as partners in every sense. Behind us, Truffle and Thyme stands ready for its first real day. Ahead, the forest holds its secrets, waiting to be discovered. Just like that first morning, when we both reached for the same avocado, we move forward together, into the forest, into our story, into whatever adventure comes next. Some people spend their whole lives hunting for treasure. I found mine reaching for an avocado, and every day since has been richer than any truffle could ever be.